Welcome to Last Dawn Stories channel. In the 5th year of the apocalypse, I was pushed into a swarm of mutated insects by my closest kin. Countless sharp mouthparts pierced my body, devouring my flesh and blood. In the midst of unbearable agony, I uttered my final words: if there is a next life, I will make sure you suffer a fate worse than death. Filled with overwhelming hatred, I closed my eyes. When I opened them again, I found myself transported back 3 months before the calamity struck. Looking at the familiar little house, I pinched myself hard, confirmed, it wasn't a dream, I've been reborn. There are exactly 3 months left before the relentless series of disasters, earthquakes, floods, extreme cold, acid rain, and insect swarms, arrive. Since fate has given me a second chance, this time I won't show any mercy. I sprang up abruptly, quickly changed into convenient clothes, and took out a yellowed piece of parchment from the bedside drawer. In my previous life, while browsing through the collection in the base's library, I happened upon a tattered ancient text. It recorded that there was a mysterious stone ring in an ancient temple on the outskirts of the city, which contained its own world and could store supplies. But by then, the apocalypse had already arrived, and the outskirts had long been reduced to ruins, with the ancient temple submerged beneath the vast waters. I exhausted all my efforts, only to find this tattered ancient book that records information about the stone ring. Who would have thought that among the pile of trinkets I collected from the antique market as a child, there would be information related to the stone ring? Heaven has shown me mercy. Since I've been given a second chance, I won't let any opportunity slip by. I drove to the ancient temple on the outskirts of the city. With vague memories from my past life, I made my way to the Buddha statue in the back hall, moved the purification vase in its hand, and revealed the hidden mechanism beneath. In the secret compartment, I indeed found a pitch-black, extremely plain stone ring. The moment I picked up the stone ring, it merged into my fingertip, binding itself to me. A voice echoed in my mind: the otherworld has been activated. The otherworld is connected to the host's life force. If the host dies, the space will collapse. The host can retrieve items between the otherworld and the outside world through consciousness, except for living beings. The initial space of the otherworld is 10 square meters and can be upgraded and expanded, one after another. These voices echoed in my mind. Overwhelmed with ecstasy and excitement, I realized that with this otherworld, I could hoard vast amounts of supplies. With supplies, I can survive well when the apocalypse comes. But before I could rejoice for long, another final voice echoed in my mind: the alternate world can be upgraded and expanded through gold and jade. 1 gram of gold exchanges for 1 square meter of space, and 1 gram of jade exchanges for 0.1 square meter of space. No cross-dire exchanges are allowed. Hearing the last sentence, my face darkened. These conditions were undeniably harsh. However, there are still many features in the space waiting for me to unlock, and I suspect gold and jade aren't the only exchange options available. As long as I plan carefully, upgrading the space shouldn't be a problem. When I got home, I collapsed onto the bed, opened my phone, and saw a few text messages. Megan, I heard an earthquake is coming. Auntie is so scared. What do you think we should do? The sender was my aunt, who wouldn't stir a finger without personal gain. I smirked coldly. In my past life, after the earthquake, her family of 3 seized my house, drove me out to face the mutated beasts, while they cowered inside. Unfortunately, I was too naive back then, unaware of the wickedness of human hearts, and foolishly forgave her. I scrolled down one by one until I saw the text message from my hypocritical best friend, Winnie. Sarah, I'm so scared. If a natural disaster really comes, what should I do? Only by your side do I feel safe. This text message appears to be concerned about me, but in reality, it's trying to emotionally blackmail me with our friendship. The thought of time running out made me sit up abruptly and start taking action. I listed several properties under my name for sale at low prices and even sold all my stocks and other assets. After all that, I ended up with nearly 20 million in my hands. With money in hand, I started thinking about what to buy: food, clothing, daily necessities, energy, weapons, seeds, tools, even pet supplies. The apocalypse would be too dull, so I had to get Thunder some toys to pass the time. I made a long list of everything needed for survival in the apocalypse. This stuff was quite miscellaneous and not in large quantities, so I simply transformed into a mysterious big buyer and started frantically sweeping through the goods. To avoid drawing attention, I used different channels, switching through several aliases, buying both online and offline. I took everything from the food processing plant, and even pharmacies and medical equipment stores were completely cleaned out by me. I ordered top-tier security systems, bought solar panels and large-scale water purification equipment, and even had weapons custom-made. Fortunately, just before the apocalypse, many people were frantically stockpiling supplies, so my actions didn't seem out of place. While shopping, I didn't forget about my other world. To upgrade the space, gold and jade were essential. I visited every jewelry store, big and small, buying gold bars and jade artifacts in a frenzy. Then under the moonlight, I stuffed them all into the space. As more and more gold, silver, and jade artifacts merged into the other world, I could clearly sense that the enclosed space was rapidly expanding, like a balloon being inflated. Soon, the initial 10 square meter space upgraded to 100 square meters, but this was still far from enough. I continued to buy and buy. Aside from gold and jade, I also purchased a considerable amount of diamonds, emeralds, rubies, and the like. Expanding the space was the priority. Money was no object. After a week of such frenzied shopping, I finally stopped when the otherworldly space expanded to 500 square meters and the piles of gold, silver, and jewelry resembled small mountains. By then, the balance in my account had shrunk considerably, but many of the purchased items remained unused. After paying partial deposits, the deliveries were scheduled for a later date. I hired a renovation team to install multiple reinforced security doors and bulletproof glass in the house. Several glass greenhouses and sunrooms were also set up in the yard. Inside, I had motorized blackout curtains installed and equipped the place with a top-tier security system. Throughout all this, I never showed up in person, instead entrusting everything to a paid errand runner. After all, money can tempt people's hearts, so I must proceed with caution. The house I carefully selected is a top-floor duplex, not only in a prime location but also spacious, with complimentary open-air balconies at both the front and back. I spent a fortune to have it thoroughly renovated. All doors and windows were replaced with military-grade blast-proof alloy ones. Special steel plates were embedded within the wall layers. Water storage tanks were installed both on the roof and underground, and an independent water and electricity recycling system was set up. On the rooftop, I built a greenhouse on one side while setting up a concealed surveillance network on the other, ensuring 360-degree coverage without any blind spots. Not even a fly could sneak in. The basement was converted into a storage room and an armory, filled with treasures for surviving the apocalypse. While my safe house was being meticulously constructed, Winnie wasn't idle either, pretending to care. She would drop by from time to time to check on me, trying to figure out how I suddenly became so wealthy and how the safe house was coming along. I was fully aware of her little schemes and decided to play along. I deliberately had the errand boy cooperate with me in playing the role of a wealthy woman, either delivering flowers and luxury goods to my door every day or picking me up in a sports car. I also intentionally left the door open, letting Winnie see my aunts bustling in and out, along with the high-end goods filling the house. Winnie, look, our new dining table just arrived, custom-made from Italy. This sofa was specially commissioned from a French designer, hand-woven, you know. Winnie looked at my luxurious lifestyle, her eyes practically overflowing with greed. She said in a shrill voice, "Megan, you really have a way with things, making a fortune in such a short time. Not like me. My pockets are emptier than my face. Don't worry, we're best friends after all. What's mine is yours. I'll send you some nice things later." I pretended to comfort her, but in my heart, I thought, the fish is about to bite. That day, Winnie came to visit again. I warmly invited her to have some fruit and took the opportunity to turn on the recorder. "Winnie, do you think I'm being too wasteful, buying so many luxury items that won't be useful in the apocalypse?" "What did you say? The apocalypse?" Winnie suddenly looked up, her face filled with shock. "Oh. I've been playing survival games lately, and they're just so immersive." Hee. I laughed it off. Winnie sighed in relief, then complained, "Megan, I don't mean to nag, but even if you have money, you shouldn't waste it like this. Look at the way you eat and spend. It's just too extravagant." Yeah, I'll be more careful in the future," I replied dismissively. "By the way, Winnie, if the apocalypse really came, would you abandon me?" "How could that be? We're good sisters. I'll always be by your side," Winnie quickly reassured. "Really, Winnie, you're so kind." I pretended to be touched, then abruptly changed the subject. "But if someone bullies me, will you stand up for me?" Winnie froze for a moment and instinctively asked, "Who would dare bully you? For example, those wealthy socialites you've recently met. What would you do if they bullied me?" I probed cautiously. Winnie frowned, somewhat displeased. "Megan, how could you say that? We're best friends. Why would I help others? If that's the case, then I can rest easy." I nodded, then immediately turned cold and pressed the play button on the recorder. From the recorder came the audio clip of Winnie betraying me in my past life. Why should Megan keep all that food to herself instead of sharing it with us? It's the apocalypse, and she's still hoarding. Yes, she's so selfish. We should just take her things. Let's do it. No more talking with her. The recording was something I intentionally set up after being reborn, luring Winnie into saying things similar to her betrayal in my past life, then secretly recording it. Hearing her own voice, Winnie's face turned pale instantly. She looked at me in disbelief. Megan, you set me up. Set you up? How is this setting you up? You were just speaking your mind, I said with a half smile. Winnie flushed red, still trying to argue, but I couldn't be bothered with her. I pushed her out the door and said coldly, Winnie, stop pretending in front of me, we're long done with each other. Before closing the door, I threw out one last remark. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, I never believed in any apocalypse, just messing with you. Winnie froze in place, her expression shifting between dark and uncertain. I shut the door, a cold smirk curling at the corner of my lips. After this probing, Winnie will surely be eager to make a move against me. This is just as well. Saving me from waiting too long, after dealing with Winnie, I went to the Stray Animal Rescue Center. Ever since my family was destroyed earlier, I've envied those who have pets by their side. In the loneliest and most desperate times, having something fluffy to comfort the soul is a truly happy thing. Unfortunately, back then, I was barely making ends meet and couldn't possibly keep a pet. Now, given a second chance, I want to find myself a companion. When choosing a pet, I spotted it at first glance. That was a German Shepherd, with a glossy coat and a nimble figure. Though injured, its eyes remained sharp and full of authority. It's named Thunder, a retired military service dog with a distinguished record. It was sent here because it couldn't continue working due to its injuries. The staff member sighed. We originally planned to let it retire here, but with the recent economic downturn, even people are struggling to get by, let alone dogs. It's professionally trained, gentle and loyal. If you like it, you can take it home. I crouched down and gently patted Thunder's head. Its slightly moist eyes, filled with loyalty, made me take a liking to it at first sight. All right, this one it is. After Thunder was brought home, it behaved in an exceptionally human-like manner. Wherever I go, it follows me closely, as if afraid I might disappear. I also adore it, having bought many toys and treats, and even handcrafted a little bed for it. I'm quite skilled at dog training, so I started giving Thunder professional training. Thunder is very smart, learning commands after just a few repetitions. I watched it regain its vitality day by day, and my fondness for it grew stronger. I knew the apocalypse was coming. While there was still time, I stockpiled a large amount of dog food and medicine to ensure Thunder's survival rations during the apocalypse. 3 months passed in the blink of an eye, the moment the countdown reached 0. An unprecedented super rainstorm arrived. The skies seemed to have been torn open, with endless rain pouring down as if to drown the entire world. The streets quickly filled with waist-deep water, vehicles floating on the surface like toys, completely paralyzing traffic. Internet signals also began to become unstable, frequently cutting out. The authorities issued an emergency evacuation notice, urging everyone to quickly find a safe place to take shelter. Holding Thunder, I calmly walked into the safe house. One by one, the heavy blast doors slowly closed behind me, shutting out the storm outside. Holding Thunder, listening to the rain outside the window, I opened a box of self-heating hot pot. In the steaming heat, I knew the apocalypse had officially begun. The rain poured down violently, as if it would never stop. The flood surged like a wild beast, submerging all low-lying areas, turning the entire city into a vast pond. The skyscraper I was in stood like a solitary island in the center of the water. The floodwaters refused to recede, leaving Thunder and me stranded like castaways on an isolated island. Fortunately, the safe house was well stocked, ensuring we wouldn't go hungry or thirsty anytime soon. But outside, the situation grew increasingly dire as the rising waters swallowed the entire city. Soon, food and water ran out, and desperate cries for help echoed everywhere. The people in the building were filled with anxiety. Everyone tried to minimize their consumption, hiding in the safe room and waiting for rescue. But just at this moment, 3 strange yet familiar faces suddenly appeared at my door. It was my usually distant Aunt Helen, who had brought her son and daughter-in-law. Paddling a shabby basin, drifting right to my doorstep, Helen wailed while crying, Megan, it's me, your dear auntie. Open the door quickly, we're starving to death. Your house is big, and you have plenty of food. Share some with us. We're your family, after all. The scene was even more exaggerated than a TV drama. Standing at the door, listening to Helen's wailing, I couldn't help but find it amusing. I had anticipated this day would come. So I installed a high-definition camera at the entrance in advance and even set up a temporary internal live streaming platform to broadcast the situation at the door in real time to everyone else in the building. Now, there are quite a few survivors in the building, and food is everyone's top concern. I didn't want to provoke public anger because of Helen's family and end up implicating myself, so I just stood behind the door, letting Helen's family cry and make a scene, refusing to open it. Helen, exhausted from crying, started pounding on the door and cursing, "You heartless brat, how can you be so cruel as to watch us die without helping? Your house is so big, what's the harm in giving us one room? You have so much food, what's the harm in sharing some with us? I'm telling you, if you don't open the door, I'll go tell others how unfilial you are, not even caring for your own aunt." Her son and daughter-in-law chimed in. "Exactly, you're just a little girl. Occupying such a big house is such a waste. We're your family, you can't just stand by and watch us suffer, can you?" They cursed while beginning to stir, stealthily inching toward the door. I knew they were trying to take advantage of my distraction to force their way in and steal the supplies by the entrance. I smirked coldly without a word, quietly opening the live streaming platform. Soon, all the other survivors in the building witnessed the scene. "What the hell, who is this, so shameless? Barging in when they won't open the door? Isn't that Helen from the 7th floor, always stealing small things, but now she's gone too far, Does she really think this is her own home, doing whatever she wants?" "Exactly, we're not putting up with this, let's go kick her out." The crowd responded enthusiastically, and my live stream instantly became a sensation. The family of 3, Helen, remained unaware that they had become public enemies, still throwing tantrums outside the door. After the heavy rain, scorching temperatures followed closely behind. The ground temperature soared relentlessly, making the entire city feel like it was being roasted over a fire. I hid in the safe house, with the air conditioning on, eating ice cream, listening to the creaking and crunching sounds outside. Those were the insects spawned by the extreme heat, frantically gnawing at the surrounding buildings. Fortunately, my safe house was sturdy enough. They couldn't get in. I controlled the drone, flying it outside to scout the situation. At first glance, I was instantly startled. The insects were densely packed, gathered together like a black tide surging toward the skyscraper. Though my safe house was sturdy, I didn't dare let my guard down. I quickly prepared my weapons, determined to defend my territory. At that moment, a person suddenly appeared in the drone footage. He stood on the rooftop of the neighboring building, holding a homemade flamethrower in one hand while setting up intricate traps with the other. Any insects that approached were either burned to death by the flames or fell into the traps. His movements were calm, his actions decisive. He was practically my idol. I couldn't help but nod at him through the drone as a sign of respect. He saw me too and nodded in my direction. Just then, thunder suddenly growled low in his direction. Its entire body tensed, bearing sharp fangs. Its eyes filled with vigilance, but strangely, its gaze didn't seem entirely hostile. There was an inexplicable excitement in its eyes, as if it had spotted a worthy opponent to challenge. I patted Thunder's head, signaling it to stay calm. The person on the rooftop next door seemed to have noticed Thunder too. He glanced at us, a faint smile curling at the corners of his mouth. That smile seemed to carry a hint of admiration and a touch of anticipation. After this battle, the insect corpses piled up like a mountain outside. The weather was also getting worse and worse, sometimes it's violent storms, sometimes it's extreme heat. At one point, there was even a heavy acid rain. The rain was like sulfuric acid, falling on buildings and causing wisps of green smoke to rise. I quickly turned the safe house's defense system to maximum, barely managing to withstand this disaster. But the outside environment was in a terrible state. The insect corpses, drenched by the acid rain, quickly dissolved into pools of disgusting liquid. The air was filled with a pungent stench, and even the water sources were contaminated. Fortunately, I had prepared in advance and stockpiled enough drinking water and food, but things were tough for Winnie. She kept trying to get into my safe house, but I guarded it too tightly. She couldn't even get close. She had no choice but to live in those damp, run-down houses on the lower floors, living in constant fear every day. One day, she was so hungry she couldn't take it anymore and had to risk going out to find food. In this world, who wouldn't resort to any means to survive? But she was unlucky. Just as she stepped onto the street, she encountered that acid rain. The rain fell on her face and arms, immediately making a sizzling sound as wisps of green smoke rose from her skin. She was in excruciating pain, watching her skin corrode and deform in the acid rain. Her heart filled with terror and despair. She ran to a pool of water and saw her reflection. That face was already twisted beyond recognition. One eye was blind, her mouth was crooked, and her face was covered in festering wounds. She instantly broke down, screaming hysterically. She vented all her resentment onto me. She believed I was the one who ruined her, turning her into this wretched state. She swore to make me pay the price, even if it means mutual destruction. So be it. Bob couldn't hold back anymore. He led those reckless guys and chose the hottest night, taking advantage of the imminent power collapse and the authorities' absence, to launch an all-out attack on my safe house. They came swarming in with makeshift weapons, overwhelming in numbers. They forcibly destroyed the external obstacles. Some pried, others smashed, and some even used their bodies to ram. Watching the surveillance footage, I sneered inwardly. With such meager skills, they dared to provoke me. I calmly activated the trap I had prepared long ago. The flash grenades exploded with several bangs above their heads. The light was more blinding than the sun, instantly rendering them sightless for a few seconds. Before they could recover, the high-voltage electric fence buzzed to life with a crackling sound. It's all thanks to that brief power surge, enough to give them a real headache. They screamed and stumbled backward, only to step on the slippery oil covering the floor. That oil was my special concoction, both slick and sticky, leaving them flat on their backs, unable to get up. Just then, Thunderbolt charged out as well. It darted through the crowd like a black lightning bolt. Those guys howled in pain from the bites, rolling on the ground in agony. I wasn't idle either. Picking up my crossbow and firing a rapid volley at their legs and arms, I didn't aim to kill. But I made sure they couldn't move. Bob's eyes turned red with rage at the sight. He brandished a large knife and frantically rammed the door. I had reinforced that door. There was no way he could break it down, but he refused to give up, continuing to slam against it while shouting, "You bitch, think this can stop me? I'll drag you out today and make you wish you were dead." I smirked coldly and pressed the remote. The stun grenade planted outside the door exploded with a deafening boom. The blast was ear-splitting, the shockwave leaving them dazed and disoriented. When the smoke cleared, they lay on the ground, foaming at the mouth and unconscious. I picked up the megaphone and said coldly, "Want prisoners? I'd rather not dirty my place." With that, I had Thunder drag them away and dump them in the distance. Whether they lived or died was none of my concern. Lucas watched the whole thing through his sniper scope from the rooftop across the way. He silently gave me a thumbs up in his heart, thinking this woman was both ruthless and dashing, truly not to be underestimated. But just when I thought I could have a few peaceful days, something bizarre happened. Early in the morning, colorful toxic fog surged from all directions, quickly enveloping the entire city. The colors were like an overturned palette. Red, green, purple, beautiful yet deadly. People inhaled the toxic fog and began hallucinating one after another. They screamed and laughed like madmen, even turning on each other. Inside the safe room, my air filtration system was running at full capacity. Thanks to the carefully prepared equipment from before, the air inside remained fresh. I looked at the devastation on the monitor and secretly felt relieved. Glancing over at Lucas's side, he also seemed to be in some safe spot, unaffected. This guy really has skills. Suddenly, Lucas's deep voice came through the walkie-talkie. "There's a rare herb in the toxic mist that can synthesize a potent antidote. Do you know where it is?" I smiled faintly and picked up the modified walkie-talkie. This walkie-talkie was specially designed to resist interference. "I know, but the place is dangerous. Are you interested in working together?" I asked. Lucas paused for a moment and said, "All right, tell me the location." I told him the medicinal herbs grew in an abandoned chemical plant. That's where the toxic fog was thickest. But also where the most herbs could be found. Without hesitation, Lucas put on his hazmat suit, grabbed his gear, and set off. Through the surveillance feed, I watched him struggle forward through the toxic mist. Lucas moved swiftly, dodging traps and mutated creatures one after another. Finally, he arrived at the place where the medicinal herbs grew. He carefully gathered them, afraid of damaging these precious plants. After collecting the herbs, he quickly retreated, returning to the safe point. He began crafting the antidote. After a series of complex procedures, the potent antidote was finally synthesized. He injected himself with one dose and left another for me. Then, he informed me via the walkie-talkie, "The antidote is ready. In return, your safehouse's ventilation system has vulnerabilities. I'll give you a blueprint to improve it." I received the blueprints and, upon reviewing them, realized there were indeed several aspects I hadn't considered. I quickly assigned a team to make improvements, elevating the safe house's defenses to a higher level. This collaboration helped us establish initial trust between each other. Everyone got what they needed, helping each other out. Thunder's growls lessened when he saw Lucas. It seemed to be gradually accepting this powerful ally. In just a week, the weather suddenly turned extremely cold, with heavy snowfall as if a blizzard had sealed off the city. The temperature dropped straight to dozens of degrees below zero. Many people were caught unprepared and instantly turned into popsicles. Fortunately, I had the foresight to stock up on enough fuel and heating equipment in advance. My house feels like a cozy little nest. No matter how cold it gets outside, it doesn't affect me. I glanced at the surveillance feed showing Lucas's building and felt a twinge of concern. The building is very old and has poor insulation. Moreover, I noticed that Lucas doesn't seem to have prepared enough fuel. Is he genuinely in trouble, or is he deliberately hiding his strength? I stroked my chin and thought for a moment, then decided to give him a hand. After all, these are extraordinary times. It's always better to have one more friend than one more enemy. I maneuvered a small tracked robot through the heavy snow toward Lucas's doorstep. This robot was one I had modified earlier, capable of navigating all sorts of rough terrain. I loaded it with several high-energy fuel blocks and a steaming hot meal to deliver to Lucas's door. Lucas opened the door and was somewhat surprised to see the robot's tracks in the snow and the food in his arms. He looked up in my direction, as if he could sense my gaze. I watched him through the surveillance camera, a faint smile curling at the corner of my lips. Lucas picked up the walkie-talkie and whispered, "Thank you." His voice was deep and magnetic, exuding a sense of security. "No need to thank me, we help each other out," I replied. "Be careful in the West District. There's a large group of raiders gathering there," Lucas added as a reminder. I nodded and said, "Got it, thanks for the heads up. It seems this ally is quite reliable." It's freezing cold outside, with snow covering everything in sight, but inside my safe house, it's warm and cozy. Thanks to solar power, fuel, and vegetables growing in the greenhouse, this place is like an oasis in a frozen hell. At night, the light from the safe house shone through specially designed windows, standing like a beacon in the blizzard. This light attracted many people. Some were nearly frozen to death, kneeling in the snow, begging me for a little warmth, but I also saw others, their eyes filled with nothing but greed, picking up crude weapons and trying to charge in. Do you really think I'm easy to push around? I stick to my principles. I won't bully others, but I won't show unnecessary kindness either. I picked out some truly innocent women and children, letting them come inside to warm up and have something to eat. As for those trying to take advantage, I immediately brought out the thunder and a few weapons, scaring them off in an instant. The blizzard lasted for 10 full days. After the snow stopped, the outside was a complete mess. Everywhere were frozen corpses, along with some remains gnawed by wild beasts. How tragic. I sighed and had the robot drag the wreckage away to bury it. As for those who tried to attack me, I didn't let a single one go. At that moment, Lucas emerged from the shadows. He brushed the snow off his clothes and looked at me. "You're quite capable," he said. I raised an eyebrow. "You're not bad either." A few snipers hiding in the shadows tried to ambush me, but Lucas quietly took them out. He nodded at me and turned to leave. I watched his retreating figure, a faint smile curling at the corner of my lips. This ally is becoming more and more satisfactory to me. I thought the outside was chaotic enough, but I never expected the real Viper to have been lurking right beside me all along. Winnie, she actually used her familiarity with the building to dig through an abandoned pipe and quietly infiltrated my floor. She was even holding a homemade Molotov cocktail, her face full of madness. "Megan, how come you get to live so well? We grew up together, yet I'm the one suffering from cold and hunger." Her voice sounded particularly shrill in the wind and snow. At this critical moment, Lucas burst through the window. Using the backup access permissions I provided and his professional gear, he quickly subdued Winnie, trying to play with fire in front of me. "Lucas, you're still too green," Lucas said coldly. Throwing Winnie onto the snow, I looked at this former best friend. My heart filled with mixed emotions. "Hand her over to you." Lucas brushed the snow off himself and pointed at Winnie. I sighed and had someone drag Winnie away. This time, I won't be soft-hearted again. After the crisis was resolved, Lucas took out the blueprint he had meticulously drawn. "I've checked it out. There's an abandoned air raid shelter in the west of the city with good terrain. We can build a small sustainable eco-base there." He looked at the hot pot on my desk and said with a smile, "I'll contribute with my skills in exchange for a hot pot meal and a partnership. How about that?" The blizzard was still howling outside, but inside it was warm and cozy, with the aroma of hot pot filling the air. I looked into Lucas's earnest eyes, then at the loyal Thunder by my side, and a genuinely relaxed smile appeared on my face for the first time since my rebirth. I raised my glass and said to him, "Happy cooperation. But the meat better be unlimited." The blizzard continues. But inside my cabin, there is hope and warmth. This marks the end of our first season, but the story is far from over. Is the bunker safe? Are there other survivors or factions out there? What challenges will the sustainable base face? These are the questions we'll have to confront next, but at this moment, I just want to enjoy the hot pot in front of me and my allies. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. When the school beauty and her gang were beating me in the bathroom, the teacher caught them red-handed, yet she pretended to be innocent and even swore an oath. If I ever bully a classmate, may I be hit by a car tomorrow. But she didn't know. I'm a word sorcerer. Everything she says in front of me comes true. Quick, take off her clothes, take photos, and post them online. Let everyone see what a slut she looks like in the damp restroom. I was pinned to the ground and beaten by several people. The leader of the group was Bella, the school beauty and also the queen bee of the bullies. Her two lackeys, one was tearing at my clothes while the other held up a phone and started taking pictures of me. I looked around desperately, praying for someone to come and save me. Suddenly, a pair of pitch-black eyes appeared outside the windowsill not far away, and my heart leaped with hope. But before I could even cry for help, Bella grabbed my hair and shoved my disheveled self into the mop sink. Caught off guard, I was forced to swallow several mouthfuls of filthy water. Just as I thought I was about to drown in that pool, two light coughs suddenly came from the toilet door. Following that was a cold yet furious voice. "Bella, Sarah, Jenny, what are you doing? Stop it right now." My hair still damp and reeking, I turned my head to meet the stern gaze of the dorm supervisor. I was saved, upon seeing my pitiful state. The dorm supervisor grew even angrier. "Kathy is a new transfer student and your roommate. How could you bully her like this?" The two followers quickly defended themselves. "Teacher Lily, we weren't bullying her. Kathy accidentally fell into the pool just now, and we were helping her up." Bella pursed her lips and changed her demeanor, her beautiful face taking on a pitiful expression. "Teacher, if I ever bullied a classmate, may I get hit by a car and die tomorrow." As she said this, she fiddled with her phone. The next second, my phone suddenly chimed with a notification. Someone had posted on the campus forum and it, me. I opened it to find my private photos from just moments ago, posted by Sister Bella. The title read, "This is what our school's newest top-tier shared bus looks like." My whole body was trembling, unable to comprehend how a girl could be so wicked. My tolerance only brought endless humiliation, so I gritted my teeth and spoke word by word. "Fine. May all your wishes come true." Yes, I am the last remaining word weaver in this world. Whenever someone says wishful words to me, they come true after I cast a verbal spell. The Verbal Spirit clan must never actively harm others. However, for someone like Bella who actively seeks death, even if I suffer backlash from the Verbal Spirit's power, I will fulfill her wish. Unlike my reaction, upon hearing Bella's oath, Teacher Lily hesitated. After all, Bella is the school's star student. Not only is she beautiful and academically outstanding, but she also behaves obediently in front of teachers, making her well-liked by everyone. Meanwhile, I am just an unknown, impoverished student. The teacher would definitely not punish Bella for my sake. Sure enough, Teacher Lily earnestly advised me, "Kathy, look how this mess has gotten out of hand. You're not just classmates but also roommates, and those three have already admitted their mistake. Maybe we should just let it go." I lowered my eyelids and timidly signaled that it was fine. This was my usual demeanor. Teacher Lily glanced at the post on her phone, told Bella to delete it, then chuckled contentedly a couple of times. After advising us to be harmonious and friendly, she turned and walked away without another word. Watching her retreating figure, I reached up to brush aside my dirty, foul-smelling hair and frowned slightly. No, the plot is not right. I don't know how long it had been when suddenly a voice sounded behind me. "Why is this different from our plan?" Another person said. "Then proceed to the next step. It will eventually be the same." In the evening, after answering a phone call, Bella's face immediately darkened, and she left with two equally grim-faced followers in tow. By the time I woke up the next day, their beds were still neatly made, clearly untouched all night. 10 minutes after the class bell rang, Bella's two followers rushed into the classroom in a panic, crying and shouting, something terrible has happened. Bella was hit by the school bus. My verbal magic worked. I heard Bella's parents are both abroad and can't make it back. So no one is looking after her at all. Originally, her two followers, Sarah and Jenny, wanted to take care of her, but the teacher refused, citing, "Studies come first, Bella should be grateful. I was previously backlashed by the power of verbal magic due to certain incidents and haven't fully recovered yet, so my abilities are greatly diminished. This is why she only fell into a coma instead of dying on the spot." I thought that with her departure, my life of being bullied would finally come to a temporary end. Overjoyed, I planned to eat 2 extra bowls of rice in the cafeteria after class. Just a few bites in, someone snatched my lunchbox, held it high, and poured the soup all over me from head to toe. I looked up and saw one of Bella's lackeys. "Sarah, Kathy, how dare you still eat? You got Bella hospitalized. How ridiculous." Clearly, they were the ones bullying me. Yet they expect me to repent. I remained silent, which only emboldened Sarah further. She grabbed my hair and threw me to the ground. "You bitch, why wasn't it you that got hit by the school bus? Why don't you just die?" The cafeteria wasn't crowded at this hour, but soon, the loud commotion drew everyone over. Miss Lee was unexpectedly present too. She had initially looked indifferent, reluctant to get involved, but the surrounding students' accusations left her no choice. "That girl is going too far, treating a classmate like this." "Yeah. I didn't expect there to be bullies in our school. Isn't there a teacher to step in?" Teacher Lily stood at the front of the crowd. Because she was always close to the students, many recognized her and called out for her to stop the bullying. Under public pressure, Teacher Lily finally spoke up to intervene. "Sarah, stop it. I'll report your bullying behavior to your homeroom teacher." Hearing this, Sarah's expression grew even more ferocious. She continued hitting me mercilessly while shouting, "Even if I get expelled, I'll still beat this bitch to death." I lay on the ground, baring my blood-stained gums in a sinister smile. May your wish come true. After unleashing the power of the spoken curse, even if Sarah wasn't expelled, she would at least face temporary suspension. They got exactly what they asked for. This was the wish they themselves had made. It's not that I actively harm others. All those who have bullied me will face retribution, after witnessing me being beaten twice. Teacher Lily finally took me away with a heart full of pity. She said, "Come, good child, let's go to the teacher's place to clean up. I'll cook for you at noon today." Then she enthusiastically pulled me along to the faculty dormitory. The 40th High School is a private secondary school that, to attract students and maintain its reputation, has enrolled many underprivileged students and provides them with subsidies each semester. I was one of them. The school is far from short on funds, especially when it comes to the faculty's living conditions. They even get to live in small villas. Teacher Lily was like a gentle mother. Seeing me covered in food stains, she brought me clean clothes and stuffed them into my hands. "A little girl should look pretty. Go take a bath first, and I'll make dinner." I stared at the pink bow-adorned dress, gripping it tightly in my palm, unmoved. Seeing me like this, she burst into laughter. "Don't worry, these clothes are brand new. Perfect for young girls like you." By the time I finished showering, she had already set the table and was eagerly serving me dishes. Looking at the mountain of delicious food piled in my bowl, tears suddenly streamed down my face, and the urge to pour out my heart overwhelmed me. "Teacher, I'm an orphan. Luckily, the school leaders gave me a chance to study. I'm really grateful to all of you." Teacher Lily stroked my hair, her eyes gleaming with a peculiar brilliance. "Thank the leaders. There will naturally be opportunities in the future." Teacher Lily told me to trust the school and the teachers. If anyone bullied me again in the future, I should tell her, and she would report it to the leaders for me. My eyelids drooped, and I burst into tears. Being bullied by the trio was a common occurrence, and now there was also Jenny. It wouldn't stop just because Bella was hospitalized and Sarah was suspended from school. After hearing about my experience, Teacher Lily patted my head and, concerned that Jenny and I might not get along, told me to come to her place for meals often in the future. I opened my mouth in surprise, moved beyond belief, yet still tried to decline. "How can this be? It's too much trouble for you, teacher." Teacher Lily pretended to be displeased and lightly tapped my head. "I am your life advisor after all, responsible for caring about students' health and daily life. Many female students have stayed with me before, and they affectionately called me Momly. Please don't stand on ceremony." As she spoke, she pointed to the photos on the wall, all of which were commemorative pictures of her with female students. My gaze swept over the photos one by one. In one of the photos, I spotted a group picture featuring Bella, Jenny, and Sarah. There was also a girl with a teardrop mole at the corner of her eye. Pretending to be curious, I pointed at the photo and asked, "Teacher, when was this taken? They're dressed so beautifully." Teacher Lily glanced back and replied indifferently, "Oh, these are from the social evenings. Outstanding students could perform and give speeches on stage. You should study hard and strive to become one of them." I blinked and pointed at the girl with the teardrop mole, asking, "This student actually has photos with Bella and the others, but I've never seen her in person. Who is she?" Teacher Lily glanced at me and said lightly, "Oh, her name is Winnie. She dropped out due to illness and is said to be in a vegetative state now." I clenched my fists and didn't say anything more. My gaze swept briefly over all the photos. They were all wearing delicate little dresses similar to what I have on now, their faces adorned with joyful smiles. Yet they seemed like soulless dolls. I smiled and asked with deep admiration, "Teacher, you've been so kind to me. Do you have any wishes? When I'm capable, I'll definitely repay you." Teacher Lily patted my head with amusement. "My wish is for all you children to excel in your studies, grow up healthy, and be happy." What a great teacher. I tried to use the power of words to help her fulfill it, but failed, because a wordsmith cannot fulfill false wishes. Teacher Lily personally escorted me back to the dormitory. As soon as I opened the door, a lamp came flying at me, hitting me squarely on the head. Blood immediately began to trickle from my forehead, while Jenny's cold, mocking voice rang out from inside the room, "Kathy, you've really outdone yourself this time. You got Bella hospitalized and Sarah suspended from school. How dare you even show your face back in the dorm?" I stood frozen in place, giving Teacher Lily a pitiful, aggrieved look. Teacher Lily was truly furious this time. She scolded Jenny harshly, "Don't you want to go to school anymore? If not, just go home. Stop causing trouble for your classmates here." After saying that, she looked at my wound with heartache. "Such a pretty face. What a shame if it gets scarred. Come on, let me take you to the hospital." Teacher Lily glared fiercely at Jenny and took her along too, making her pay the medical bills to take responsibility for her wrongdoing, before going to the hospital. I asked Teacher Lily to wait while I took off the little pink dress in the bathroom, carefully folded it, and packed it in my suitcase. Seeing how much I treasured it, Teacher Lily chuckled and said, "It's just a dress. If you like it, you'll have more than you can wear in the future." I pretended to be serious and replied, "This isn't just any dress. It's proof that someone treated me so well for the first time." Teacher Lily asked curiously, "What about your master? The guardian listed on your school application form was some kind of master, right? Wasn't he good to you?" "Yes, I am an orphan. When I was young, my biological parents unfortunately revealed their identity as wish masters and were imprisoned by the nobility to make wishes, exhausting their lives, and unsurprisingly, they met a tragic end. I was taken in by my master and lived with him in the mountains for many years." Thinking of this, I curled my lips into a smile and casually said, "He's just a useless old man, actually my foster father. I don't want to call him dad, so I call him master. We have a terrible relationship. Truth is, I'm just an unwanted wild child." Teacher Lily's expression turned strange after hearing this, a mix of pity and something like joy. After comforting me for a while, he drove Jenny and me to the hospital. Fortunately, the wound on my forehead wasn't deep, just needed a few stitches. After bandaging, Teacher Lily suddenly received a phone call and had to leave in a hurry. Unable to take us back to school, he repeatedly emphasized that I should get along peacefully with Jenny. Not until the car's exhaust fumes were completely out of sight did the usually domineering Jenny beside me suddenly quiet down, muttering gloomily, "What do we do now?" I squinted my eyes. "Let's go see Bella first." "Which ward is she in?" "Yes." Actually, everything was a well-planned act between me and Bella's group. Whether it was the trio bullying me, or me using verbal magic on Bella and Sarah, or even getting my head smashed bloody by Jenny, it's all a setup. 3 months ago, just as I woke up in the hospital, I received a phone call from my younger sister, Winnie. That night, it was raining heavily, and the signal was terrible. There was a loud howling wind on the other end of the line, as if my sister was standing somewhere high up. She kept crying on the phone, but no matter how I asked, she wouldn't say anything. In the end, she only uttered one sentence, "Sister, please tell my dad for me that I won't be able to take care of him anymore." Then came the thud of impact. She fell from the building. I avoid using the word jumped, because that's how the police initially closed the case, but I don't believe it, so, under the alias Kathy, I transferred to the 40th High School. I was fortunate enough to fill my sister's vacancy, becoming a student in this class and also the new roommate of Bella and the others. during the first few days after transferring, I was genuinely bullied by Bella and her friends. They always enjoyed playing harmless pranks, but they never truly hurt me, for example, putting bugs in my bed, soaking my blanket, saying I'm not welcome here and telling me to get out of school, but when I carefully asked for the reason, they hesitated and couldn't give a clear answer. They just fiercely but weakly demanded that I leave. I know they have a secret, perhaps this secret is related to my younger sister, Winnie, so, when they once again locked me outside the dormitory door at night as if playing a prank, I directly used my power of verbal command on the door. From now on, the dormitory door will automatically open for me. As soon as I said this, the three people who had been laughing at me inside stared in shock as I calmly walked into the dorm. Only then did they realize that I possessed special abilities, unlike ordinary people. Thus, they decided to reveal the truth to me, the truth they knew. 3 months ago on that evening, the 40th high school organized a cultural performance open to the public. Students from impoverished backgrounds and top-performing students performed together for the audience. The top students performed to showcase the high-quality student body of the 40th high school. The performances by students from impoverished backgrounds were meant to demonstrate the school's benevolence and compassion. The group photo on Teacher Lily's dormitory wall was taken on the night of the performance. Bella and the other two were top students, while Winnie was truly a girl who had come from the mountains. After the performance, the 4 girls had planned to return to the dormitory together. But Winnie suddenly disappeared. Bella went to the backstage dressing room to ask other classmates, but no one had seen her. Only one girl mentioned seeing Teacher Lily call Winnie away. Along with her, 5 other girls were also taken away. They were all students receiving poverty assistance. That night, it rained heavily. Winnie didn't return all night, and her phone was unreachable. The next day, when news came again, she had already jumped to her death, and the only witness, the female student who saw Teacher Lily take away the 6 impoverished students, also suddenly transferred schools the next day and disappeared without a trace. So, in fact, Bella and the others didn't know exactly what had happened either, but they suspected that Teacher Lily had a problem, a very big one at that. When I first heard this story, I was skeptical, because some classmates also said that although Winnie was roommates with the 3 of them, she had always been isolated by them and even cornered in the bathroom. So perhaps these were just stories they fabricated to cover up the fact that they were bullying their younger sister, until Bella hesitated for a long time, bit her lip, and showed me her phone. Inside was a WeChat message from Teacher Lily: "Classmate Bella, come to the teacher's dormitory for a meal when you're free." The messages on Sarah and Jenny's phones were roughly the same, however. They felt something was off and never went. When I asked if they had bullied the younger sister, they also said no. They were just at that youthful age, unaware of life's hardships, and their playful nature made them notice Winnie's shy solitude. Since they shared the same dorm, they wanted to bring her into their circle. My suspicions about them truly faded a few days after I started school, when my master called. After a long silence on the other end, he finally spoke with pain. "There's something I've never told you. During the rescue of Winnie, the doctors discovered numerous wounds on her lower body, eroded, foul-smelling, violated, and bleeding profusely. What exactly did my sister endure? These are her wounds, and this is the truth I seek. I am absolutely certain that this could not have been caused by Bella and the other 2. Everything is undeniably connected to Teacher Lily. Or perhaps there are even deeper forces at play. I have decided to venture into the lion's den, using myself as bait. As long as I uncover the truth and confront the murderer, I can unleash the power of words to kill them, at all costs." And this received the support and assistance of Bella and the other 2. Initially, they were also very worried, saying that since I had the ability to make the dormitory door open for me anytime, why not just curse those bad people directly, curse them to death? But my verbal magic is not yet refined enough. I need to continue my cultivation. Currently, I still need a medium to cast spells, either face-to-face or through an internet cable. At the very least, there must be something that connects me to those people. Therefore, I cannot cast spells into thin air. I must see those murderers in person. Additionally, I am still not capable of fulfilling wishes for myself and my family, for example, master and younger sister. For example, I hope the truth comes to light. Entering the ward, I immediately saw Bella's pale face and Sarah beside her, peeling an apple. Seeing the gauze on my head, Bella was utterly astonished. "Did you hurt your head just to see us?" I rolled my eyes at her and asked, "Are you feeling better now?" Bella nodded, took a crisp bite of an apple, and then began to share the findings from her and Sarah's investigation. The girl who witnessed Winnie being taken away by teacher Lily backstage has transferred to a school abroad. It took a lot of effort through friends to find this out, only she knows who the other 5 girls taken away with Winnie that night were. I offered her money to reveal their names, but she refused. This matter is of great importance, and self-preservation is understandable, but I don't agree with it, because only those 5 girls know what happened that night. Perhaps they suffered the same fate as my sister. I can't just pin all my hopes on teacher Lily's connection. What if she doesn't contact me later? I turned to Bella and said, "Do you have that girl's contact information? I need to talk to her." Bella opened WeChat, and soon, the video call connected. A gaunt, gloomy face appeared on the phone screen. Before even clearly seeing who was on our end, she spoke impatiently. "Why are you still bothering me? I told you, I don't know anything about what happened 3 months ago. Stop asking me." I wasn't the least bit bothered by her attitude. Looking at her haggard appearance, I smiled gently. "These past few months must have been torment for you too, haven't they? Winnie is my sister and your classmate. As fellow girls, do you know what happened to her?" "Actually, I don't know either, but the doctor said her lower body was severely torn and ulcerated. After the fall, she's been lying in the hospital unconscious and may remain in a vegetative state. Perhaps it's better for her to stay like this, oblivious to everything. Like a fool who knows nothing, but I can't pretend not to know, neither can Bella and the others, and I believe, deep down, neither can you. I don't need you to do anything for me, just tell me who the other 5 girls were that were with her." Seeing the girl on the video hesitate, I took a deep breath and said sincerely, "Have you heard of a wordcaster?" A year ago, a famous wordcaster live stream appeared in the country. It was said that anyone who connected with the host on mic could have their dreams come true. Later, that host used wordcasting to lure their enemies onto the stream, killed all of them to avenge their parents, and finally died by throwing themselves into traffic. This was a sensational news story. I think you must have heard of it too. Actually, like her, I am also a wordcaster. You don't want money. What do you want? Tell me, and I'll make it happen for you." As soon as I said this, everyone both on and off the phone looked at me in shock. The female witness gazed deeply at me and finally spoke. "I know that spirit speaker. Her name is Helen. She only connected with 5 audience members each day. At the time, I also joined the call. My wish was for my mother's illness to get better soon. The next day, my mother's cancer cells really disappeared. Helen truly helped me fulfill my wish. Since you're like her, I'm willing to tell you. As a way to repay her kindness. After all, she's no longer in this world." Then, the girl indeed hesitated no more and sent over the names of the 5 impoverished girls who had left with her sister that night. Only at this point did I finally breathe a sigh of relief, and I asked again. "I said I would help you fulfill one wish. Tell me." The girl shook her head, her complexion much improved, with what seemed like tears glistening in her eyes. Before ending the video call, she left only one sentence. "I hope you get what you wish for. That's my only wish." The tenderness of a woman always moves people deeply. Seeing the 5 names, Sarah let out a heavy sigh. "What's our next move?" I looked at the 3 girls in front of me with some guilt. To avenge my sister and to get closer to teacher Lily, I had made them pay too high a price this time. Bella was nearly killed by the school bus. Sarah was suspended. And Jenny would certainly face disciplinary action as well, but without this carefully orchestrated chain of events, given teacher Lily's cautious nature, she might not have believed that a newly transferred student like me could be so tragically unfortunate, so easily bullied, and so in need of her help as a teacher. Touching the wound on my forehead, I said thoughtfully to Jenny, "When we return to school tomorrow, I'll tell the teacher that I intend to hold you fully accountable. To get you suspended, all 3 of you will have your own reasons not to come to school anymore. Get some good rest. I always feel the school is dangerous. I'll handle the remaining matters myself." Bella immediately exploded like a little firecracker, jumping up from the hospital bed while shouting, "Didn't we agree earlier? There were 3 reasons for me getting hit by a car to leave school. First, to subtly reveal your verbal spirit abilities to the school, to see if it could attract her or the people behind her. Second, to let me search for eyewitnesses. Third, to solidify the bullying case against you, to make teacher Lily sympathize with you, believe you, and help you. But I still need to be involved in the follow-up. After all, this matter concerns me too. I'm like a piece of fatty meat being watched by her, feeling uneasy. Besides, those 5 girls aren't familiar with you. You'll still need me to communicate with them." Sarah and Jenny also repeatedly expressed their willingness to stand by me through thick and thin, but I still refused. They had already helped me a lot, and after all, they were just ordinary students. The next steps would be for me to face alone. I returned alone to the empty dormitory. Just as I woke up from a nap, my phone rang. An aged voice came from the other end. "Flowers, Winnie showed a slight improvement today." Her fingers moved. I sprang to my feet, overwhelmed with joy. "Master, is it true?" A whirlwind of thoughts raced through my mind. I knew all too well that it was the final wish of the female witness that had made the difference. I wish her all the best, but her wish is to wish me all the best. As for my wishes, there are too many. My sister recovers, the truth comes to light, my enemies die miserably, and I return to reunite with my master and sister. On the other end of the phone, my master's voice was choked with sobs, rambling on, "Don't worry about Winnie. By the way, where exactly have you been? When are you coming home? You must take good care of yourself, and whatever you do, don't reveal your identity as a wordcaster." At the end, Master asked again, "Helen, be honest with me, did you go to the 40th high school?" I remained silent, and Master, clearly understanding the situation, scolded me angrily. "I knew it. The moment I was busy taking care of Winnie and didn't keep an eye on you, you went and acted recklessly. Don't you know what your identity is? A year ago, after you used the word magic to kill your enemy and suffered the backlash, you were already on the verge of death. Then you threw yourself into traffic to destroy yourself. It was this old man who risked his life to save you, swallowed his pride to borrow money, helped you get plastic surgery, gave you a complete makeover, and arranged a fake identity, all in the hope that you'd live well. But you don't even cherish yourself. Winnie is my own daughter, I'll naturally avenge her myself. You don't need to meddle in this. Get your ass back here." "Yes, actually, my name isn't Kathy, it's the fake identity my master arranged for me a year ago after I faked my death by throwing myself into traffic. My real name is Helen, the last remaining bloodline of the Chen clan. Actually, my relationship with my master is very good. He's just an ordinary old man who once received a verbal blessing from my birth parents. And he's also my last family and concern in this world. Because of that small kindness, he took care of me for over a decade, protected me for over a decade, and raised me as his own daughter. Because of my identity, he was forced to live in seclusion with Winnie and me. The years spent in the deep mountains shaped Winnie's simple and shy personality. That's why she was bullied at school, with no one to turn to for help. Winnie is not my biological sister, but she means more to me than one. How could I stand by and watch her being harmed into a vegetative state? I hadn't even had the chance to look for those 5 girls when Teacher Lily came to me with her good news. She said that in a month, the school would hold a gala, attended by many leaders from both within and outside the school. She planned to give me a chance to shine. I would perform a dance on stage with 8 other girls. For the next month, I would train with these 8 girls, striving to dazzle on stage. When the time came, I glanced at the list, and the names of the 5 girls who had accompanied my younger sister were clearly listed. Teacher Lily said that if I performed well, I might become the designated beneficiary of a company executive sponsorship. Yes, because the 40th High School is a private institution, it often receives investments from many individuals in society. Originally, I was looking forward to meeting the 5 girls to get to the bottom of things. But when I arrived at the dance studio, I was still stunned. No, why have Bella and the other 2 come back? Didn't they say the school was off? I went through so much trouble to get them out. Why would they walk right back into the trap? My face darkened with anger, but Bella and the other 2 roughly pulled me aside, putting on a fierce act. The remaining girls looked numb, seemingly indifferent to what was happening around them. Only when we reached the corner of the dance room, certain no one could see us, did Bella and the others solemnly speak to me. "We've decided to walk this path with you from now on. After all, you're new here, and we're roommates. Helping each other is only natural. Besides, we've been through the dance dedication before. It's actually quite easy to pick up, so consider us your 3 companions in this, for our own sake, for Winnie's sake, and for all the other girls in our school." These idiots, with their help, persuading the other 5 girls also became easier. The dance teacher left after teaching for a while and didn't supervise us the whole time, so we mostly trained on our own. During practice, Bella and the other 2 exchanged glances with me, and we tacitly went to talk to the 5 girls, worried that persuading them might take time. I asked Jenny to make a wish to me. She was the only one in the trio who hadn't made a wish to me yet. Jenny didn't decline either and said directly, "I hope our upcoming revenge plan goes smoothly." When we asked the 5 expressionless girls about what happened that night 3 months ago, their faces visibly stiffened. "Oh, you're Winnie's sister. I envy her. At least her family still trusts her and helps her." "What's the use of talking about it? What's done is done, and nothing will change. What we can do is use that miserable past as leverage to escape this sea of suffering." I paused, looking directly into the pain in their eyes, whispering like a deity, "But are you truly willing to accept this? Tell me, I promise, I will help you get revenge. Let them suffer your pain 1,000, 10,000 times over." The month passed quickly, and the evening party arrived as scheduled. Teacher Lily brought us the dance costumes with a beaming smile, the same pink dresses I had seen in the photo at her dormitory. She even casually handed me one back then. What pretty young ladies, cheer up now, the leaders don't want to see your sour faces. How much investment our school can secure depends entirely on you all. Make sure to perform well for the teachers are very much looking forward to it." To this day, the teachers' facade slowly cracks, finally revealing just a glimpse of their true nature. The 9 of us smiled without a word, suppressing the excitement in our hearts. We are also looking forward to it. VIPs enter, leaders enter, media enter, audience enters. I don't know if it's the effect of the spotlight, but looking at those people below, they seem to be smiling, yet appear like man-eating beasts. I danced to the rhythm of the music while observing the faces of the people below and the name tags on their chairs. Yes, it matched up with what all 5 girls had said. I curled my lips into a cold smile, suddenly stopping my dance moves and standing straight in place. The other 8 did the same as me. The audience below was baffled. Why had the dance suddenly stopped when everything was going fine? Teacher Lily was making faces at us from behind the curtain, visibly anxious. Her lip movements clearly said, "What are you doing? Hurry up and jump." But I remained unfazed, striding over with my long legs to the backstage. Snatching the 2 microphones from the host's hands, and handing one to the other girls, I then turned around and addressed the audience below the stage. "If the dance wasn't entertaining enough, let me show you the truth behind the 40th High School. The truth is, the 40th High School has long been involved in a money and sex exploitation scheme, led by dormitory supervisor Jane, who disguised herself as a caring mentor to all students. She befriended them to identify vulnerable girls, then offered them as gifts to influential figures from various sectors. These gifts were either girls from impoverished families or troubled teenagers neglected by their parents. The first to be targeted were the impoverished students, and when the supply of gifts ran short, troubled girls were used to fill the gap. Because I am a spirit speaker, I would be exploited and imprisoned if discovered, so my master devoted more effort to me over the years, to some extent neglecting my sister's care, which led to her introverted and timid personality. Living in the mountains for a long time, without friends and exposure to the world, she was more easily victimized by people like Jane. The other 5 girls were more or less the same. As for Bella and the other 2, although their families were well off, their parents were working elsewhere and had been separated from them for a long time. Even if something happened, they wouldn't be able to return in time, or perhaps, uncovering the truth wasn't that easy, so, threatening them with withholding their graduation certificates or barring them from the college entrance exams, scaring these young girls into accompanying them for drinks or meals, seemed reasonable, right? What can their parents do even if they find out? After all, even a mighty dragon cannot crush a snake in its own lair. So, for Jane, students like her younger sister Winnie were the first choice, while those like Bella were backups. A girl who is too beautiful without the corresponding ability to protect herself is nothing short of a disaster. The 40th High School holds a so-called party almost every 3 or 4 months, which is essentially a concubine selection ceremony. 3 months ago, on the night my sister had the accident, she was among 5 other girls who performed a dance and were subsequently chosen and taken away. The torment she endured that night was beyond what an ordinary person could imagine. The 5 girls screamed, cried, and trembled as they spoke. The school used threats and inducements, while Jane brainwashed them. What's the use of studying for over a decade? In the end, you still have to find a man to marry. Now that you've hooked up with these big shots, your future is limitless, and you won't have to struggle anymore. Besides, most of your families are poor, with younger siblings needing education and mothers requiring medical care. The bosses can give you plenty of money to fulfill all your desires. Oh, calling the police, go ahead, see if anyone dares to arrest us. They colluded with each other, emboldened by their impunity. All avenues of escape were blocked, leaving no alternative but to compromise. Yet my sister had a fiercely independent streak, and after enduring such an ordeal, she jumped from the rooftop that very night. By this point in the story, the truth had become painfully clear. The media, specially invited by the school, all turned their cameras toward us on stage. as well as those beasts in human form seated in the VIP section. Clearly, no one had anticipated this. This was not just a social gathering but also the school's anniversary celebration. The school had specifically invited media to witness its glory. Yet we ended up exposing such a shocking scandal. Jane panicked, shouting at the backstage crew. "Turn off the mic, cut the sound, shut it down now." Yet the backstage crew for every evening event were always students. The once obedient and well-behaved students refused to comply this time. He scratched his ear, his expression seeming to say, "Sorry about that, Mr. Lee, I'm deaf." I led my companions forward, stepping to the edge of the stage, just a meter away from the audience in the front row VIP seats. Looking down at them from above, I savored the panicked expressions on their faces. They covered their faces, stood up to flee, but were forced back into their seats by the suddenly riotous student audience. "It's wonderful, everyone is helping us." I turned my head and smiled at the 5 girls. "How do you want them to die? I'll make it happen for you." This time, they didn't shy away but stood up, shoulder to shoulder with me. But just then, my phone rang. It was my master calling. "Helen, it's enough now, hand them over to the police." You know the backlash of the power of words. So, he had seen the media broadcast. "But, master, if reporting to the police was effective, would this industry chain at the 40th high school still exist? Are these students all fools who never thought of saving themselves?" "No, they're not. It's just that some people use money and power to cover the sky with one hand, deceive the public, and distort the truth. This time, I will personally punish them." At the same time, the voices of the 5 girls echoed in my ears one after another, gritting their teeth with deep-seated hatred. Their voices resounded throughout the auditorium. "I hope they torment each other, right here, and they must never go to prison. Death is too easy. From now on, they will be imprisoned here every day, forced to torment each other, or else suffer the agony of 1,000 ants gnawing at their hearts. A fate worse than death. I hope they turn into a pile of rotten flesh, writhing on the ground, vomiting every time they eat or drink, surviving only by consuming feces and urine. I hope their ill-gotten gains are immediately donated to genuine charitable organizations to help girls like us, reigniting hope in life. I hope they now confess their sins in front of the camera." By the end, the 5 girls were in tears. I smiled and said, "All right, I wish you all the best." In a corner unseen by the crowd, countless white specks of light hovered in the air. These were the powers of verbal spirits. The middle-aged men in the front row, along with Jane and the school's relevant leaders, one by one, their faces filled with terror, yet unable to control their own bodies, they stood up and began spilling secrets to the camera: how to collude with school teachers, how to assault female students, how to coerce and bribe. Some even looked at me and said, "I saw the photos of you being bullied on the school network. You looked so beautiful when you were being tormented. It really excited me, so I'm allowing you to become my gift. Consider it an honor." That was the bait Bella and I had deliberately set for them. To our surprise, it actually worked. Then, they began to undress, revealing their flabby flesh, like countless pale, squirming maggots, entwined together as they started their carnal pleasures. As this happened, their bones began to eerily detach from their bodies, turning into pools of true mush amidst their agonized wails, and this state would persist for a very, very long time. Not even the police could break my restraints to take them away, make them suffer a fate worse than death. My head began to spin, and blood started flowing from all 7 orifices. I knew it. I was being struck by backlash again. Spellcasters are not ordinary people. Meddling with the karma of the world comes with its own price. Bella and the other 7 quickly gathered around me, using their bodies to support me and prevent me from falling. "Kathy, actually, you're Helen, aren't you? Even though you look very different from her, I feel like you're her. I used to watch your live streams. You're a good person. Thank you for helping us escape that nightmare, and thank you for everything you've done for us. Your vengeance is complete, and with your identity exposed, many will surely come to hunt you down. After all, harnessing your power would guarantee them a lifetime of wealth, perhaps even immortality. The police seem to be searching for you too. Your curse from back then indirectly killed the ones who murdered your parents, so, you should leave now. This time, we'll protect you." They were chattering away about something. The other social figures in the auditorium had deep, inscrutable eyes, watching me as if ready to act. After all, I was quite the coveted prize. But then, the previously quiet students stirred again. They seemed to start running around, pulling and shouting at each other in a chaotic manner, as if they were about to fight at any moment. But upon closer inspection, they were actually just skillfully blocking these outsiders, forming a protective circle around me on the stage. What a group of adorable younger siblings. My eyes grew moist, but it seems I'm going to disappoint their kindness, because I truly don't have the strength to take another step. Just then, a faint female voice suddenly came through the phone that had been on the whole time. Sister, I'm also a victim. They all made wishes. Can I make one too? It's Winnie. Winnie has woken up. It seems the wish made by that female witness earlier has taken effect. Although my power of verbal magic is nearly exhausted, I still excitedly responded with an mm. I thought Winnie was also going to curse these disgusting individuals, but I never expected her to say instead, although I'm your family, I don't know if this wish can come true, but I still want to say it. I hope you won't suffer any backlash in the future. Sister, I wish you good health and a long life. Then, the student audience in the auditorium seemed to have an epiphany. While blocking the outsiders from approaching me, they shouted in unison, same here, it's okay. If yours can't come true, then let ours be realized instead. I hope you live a long life and never suffer backlash again. I've always disliked these nasty old men. The school always felt off, but I never imagined it could be this disgusting. Sigh, just shut down already. I'll tell my mom to transfer me out ASAP. The crowd roared, love surging like a tide. With tears blurring my vision, I nodded. May your wishes come true. My master once said that a word mage could help everyone fulfill one wish, except for their own family members. Although I would suffer backlash after granting a wish, if someone was willing to forego their wish to nourish the word mage instead, then the mage would no longer face backlash in the future. Yet, this was a test of human nature. Who would be willing to give up the chance to fulfill a wish without any effort? But now, these students are willing. Suddenly, I felt as if countless black holes within me were being repaired, and my body was once again filled with strength. Then, I faintly heard the sound of police sirens outside the auditorium. Young faces turned towards me, filled with excitement and genuine warmth. Hurry up, get out of here. Pushing through the dense crowd, I sprinted toward the west gate of the campus. It felt as though countless people were still chasing after me. I know, what they're chasing isn't really me, but their own desires, money, power, profit. A familiar black car stopped at the entrance, its door wide open, and I immediately jumped in. Then I heard my master's familiar grumbling from the driver's seat. Ah, every time it's up to this old man to clean up the mess. This face and identity of yours are no longer usable. I'll go trouble an old friend to give you plastic surgery first. I chuckled playfully, joking around. Thanks, master. Then, facing Winnie's pale little face, my heart ached unbearably. Winnie, didn't you just wake up? Why are you already discharged from the hospital? Master chimed in. You silly girl, you used verbal magic to retaliate against those people in front of everyone, and then said Winnie is your sister. The police will definitely track me down soon, find out where Winnie was hospitalized. We can't stay there anymore. Time to move again. I quickly apologized. I'm sorry. Winnie threw herself into my arms, shaking her head as she said, I don't blame you at all. If it weren't for you, sister, this matter would have become a permanent knot in my heart, but now, the knot is untied, and I've come to take my sister home. I stroked her head, with cars chasing behind us, yet my heart was utterly at peace. Yes, going home, no matter what has happened, no matter who I am or what identity I hold, wherever you are with family. It's a warm and cozy harbor. That's all the story. What do you think of this story? Share with me in the comments section. What would you do if you were in this situation? Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.